Welcome, y'all. You found us at Casseroles and Tacos podcast. We're so glad you're here. I am Katie. Miss Casseroles over here on the podcast, and I dish up all kinds of casseroles here in southern Middle Tennessee.
And I'm Andrea, usually serving up tacos over here in California. And tonight, or today, whenever it is you're listening to us, we are also serving up birthday cake. This is our birthday episode, our birthday special. Katie and I both share August birthdays. We're only 4 days apart. And we have many family August birthdays also. We know lots of you are August babies too. So we thought it would be fun to celebrate all the August babies and have a little chit chat about our little birthday fiesta. So before we get started, happy birthday, Katie. I know your birthday wasn't too long ago.
And to you, Andrea. That's right. That's right. And who else in your family?
Trinity's birthday is 1 day before mine.
Okay.
And so we're just 1 day apart. And then my sister's birthday was just a few days ago. My aunt's birthday is tomorrow. We're just full of them in August. How about you?
Oh, well, we've got myself and my husband and our son, John Boy. And, I have to think about it in order of the month. My brother-in-law is the same day as you. And then my nephew is 2 days after that. And then I'm the next day. And then my son, John Boy, is the next day. And then my sister is 2 days after that. And my husband and my father are at the end of the month. So
wow,
we used to have, and then, a couple that have passed away, older ones, or the 7th and 8th of the month. So we used to have in our family, bless your heart if you're not, weren't born in August, because honestly, we would have, like my mom would have an August birthday party. So, that leaves out my mom and my brother. They just, my brother was born, or, Thanksgiving date fluctuates, but some days his birthday's on Thanksgiving and some days it's not. But, when your birthday is born on a holiday, you kind of get left out. But yeah, we had an August birthday party, and we would have one party and one cake, and we would just all blow on the candles and have one cake. So yeah, that's what we used to do. Yeah, it's fun. Do you what do you think about having back-to-back birthday with your child? What's your perspective on that?
I really love it. And I was given, because she was a scheduled C-section, when they gave me my date, they said, we want to have her, we want to bring her on August 11th, which is my birthday. And I said, is there any way we could go like a day before or a day after? I said, it's not that I don't want to share my birthday. Mm-hmm. I don't want her to have to share hers. So I want her to have her own special day. So I had her on the 10th. And then on the 11th, of course, I'm still in the hospital because, again, I had a C-section, so I was still recovering. And the nurses were so sweet. They came and brought a big old piece of birthday cake with sprinkles, and they all sang to me. And it was in that moment that I realized, I had the best birthday gift ever.
Of course.
And so every year I always tell her, you are the best birthday gift ever. So we always say that we're birthday buddies. And last year was her sweet 16. So, and I'll get more into this in a minute, but we only have parties for what we call big years. And so last year was a big year. And so she had a big party. And so she told me this year, Mama, I don't even care what we do for my birthday. You put all your heart into my birthday last year, and I want you to do whatever you want to do this year. So it's really cute because, we do this thing with the back and forth of what we do. And sometimes we celebrate together. And I don't know, it's just been a really super special thing to experience with each other. And yeah, I don't know. I love it. And so last night we had our family birthday, like you're saying, one big birthday. So it was, Trinity's birthday, my sister's birthday. My mom made us all dinner last night. It was supposed to be my aunt's too, but she ended up not feeling well, not coming. So it was just the three of us, but yeah, I don't know. I enjoy it. My sister and I grew up kind of having birthdays really close together. And sometimes we had joint parties too. So, but I love it. And I know you're only like a day apart from your son, right? Like, aren't you guys pretty close too?
Yes. Our oldest one of our littles is the day after mine. And yeah, but I do have a story about, I wasn't going to tell this, but since you brought it up, I kind of have to tell this story about my sister and myself because mine's the 15th and hers is the 18th. And here is why. I was 8 years old, or I was about to turn 8 years old when Mama was going to give birth. And Mama had to have a C-section. And Mama came to me and she said, the doctor wants to put me in the hospital and I will have, well, we didn't know if it was a boy or girl, I don't think, back then. And he, on your birthday, on Friday. And she said, what do you think about that? We're going to let you decide. Well, I was 7, about to turn 8. And, I wanted my own day. And not just that, I wanted my mom and dad to be there. Because, they were going to be at the hospital and I was going to be, Uncle Bill and Aunt Linda were going to stay with me, which is absolutely fine. But, I wanted my mama and my daddy there for my birthday. So selfish or not, whatever. My mama let me decide. And I said, no, I don't want this baby to be born on my birthday. And so the next available time was Monday because, they didn't set it up for Saturday or Sunday. So the next available time to give birth was on a Monday. So that's why I'm the 15th and my sister is the 18th. So even back then I was bossing her, I guess. I don't know. But
that's too funny.
That's how that worked out. And then when the littles came to us, and we realized his birthday was the day after mine, I thought, well, that's kind of neat, join the club. And then my 2 daughters-in-law are the day before August, a couple of days before, not exactly the 31st, but right before August, like 2 or 3 days before August starts at the end of July. So I told them they almost got in the club, but that's okay. We have a July party because little Miss Homemaker, our daughter, Anna, is also in July. So we celebrate our 3 girls in July. But yeah, that is why my sister is on the 18th. So
that is too funny.
Yeah. So that's that story with the C-section. But now you mentioned doing celebrating special days or special years rather. And I know I have some friends who do that. And my sister even does that. My sister is so good she's so creative and she's so good and about things like that. They celebrate special years and they even have special gifts they give on certain years. I don't do that. I think about it after the fact, as in like 2 years after the fact. And I thought, oh, that would have been neat to do that for that child. So I'll tell you what we do, but you go first. I want to hear about this special year. So let's give some people some ideas.
Well, it's funny because it wasn't until I started talking about it with other people that I realized other people did it. We did it primarily because we knew with 3 kids, we couldn't set the precedent of affording a big party every year. It just wasn't going to be practical for us on a single income. And so we thought, well, my mom made a bigger fuss about certain years than she did others. And so I started with that idea. And I carried over one tradition my mom has, which is you don't have any chores. And because we homeschool, which I didn't grow up homeschooling, but we added, you don't have to do schoolwork. And you pick all 3 meals and dessert. So you get to pick breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and then dessert. Well, that's like normal years. Now on what we call big years, which is 1, because 1's a big deal.
Mm-hmm, sure.
Right. I mean, they don't remember it, but we still made a fuss. And you got to have the whole smashy cake and the whole thing, which actually ended up being a complete catastrophe with most of my kids because they didn't want to touch the frosting. But so we had the first birthday was a big deal. And then we don't do another big one till 5 because to us 5 is big kid. So now you're a big kid and you get a big party. Now, the next one after that, we don't have another one till 10 because that's double digits.
Mm-hmm.
And then we do 13 because you're a teenager.
Okay.
And this is where it gets tricky. See, all the kids get a big 16 because you're 16, right? But the girls get a 15 also. So they don't get a big quinceañera, which is like a celebration of turning 15 in Latin culture. Okay. And it can be a really big to-do party. And my girls have had no desire to do that. But we do, like you're saying, like there's traditional or specific gifts for that age. That's the one where there are specific gifts and there are some traditions we follow and that kind of thing. So the girls will get a new dress and they get some certain specific gifts. So the girls will get a quinceañera. Their quince is a big deal. And then 16 also, because you're 16. And then if they want to hang out with us at 18, then we'll party with you at 18 too. So, Yeah. Now Gavin turned 18 this year, and he really didn't have much of a desire to do a big deal, but he still got to pick, call the shots on how we celebrated the day. So,
right.
But Gavin gives me a hard time because he says the girls get one extra big birthday than he did. But I said, but rank has its privileges, which means since you've been old enough to sit in the front seat, you've always gotten the front seat. So you got the front seat since you were, old enough to sit there, and the girls get an extra birthday in exchange. So that's how we do it. But
that's pretty cool. I mean,
it's pretty cool. Yeah. So other than that, we keep birthdays pretty simple. Like I said, no chores, no school, and you pick all the meals, but they'll get a gift. They can have a friend over if they want for dinner. But we try to keep it simple because, for one, to me, those are precious memories I want to have with my kids. And I appreciate the simplicity of it. And, we've done things where we, maybe what usually ends up happening is that a grandparent, say if my mom wants to hang out with the kids for their birthday, then she'll come get them the day before or the day after. Like this year she took Trinity to get pedicures, and they went to the bookstore and they hung out and they just had their day together. And I think that there's something really special about having that one-on-one time as opposed to trying to see everyone in a room.
Right.
And for us too, because our living situation has changed so much in the last few years, it's just been a really great way for us to do that. But yeah, we love the big birthday, the alternating big birthday thing. And we've had some pretty big blowouts over the years, not blowouts like fights, but I mean, like, like big bashes, big birthday bashes.
Yes.
Yeah. We've had some fun, but, I don't know. We're like coming to the end of it. Trinity will be 18 next year, and Piper has a big birthday next year. So, we've got big ones coming. So yeah, I got a little downtime this year, but next year it's going to be on again.
Well, you should tell Gavin. I was thinking, if he sticks around long enough, you'll have a blowout for his 20th. See, so that's
yeah. Yeah, exactly. I told him. That's what I told him. I said, "You want to hang out with us? We'll do it."
Cool.
But he's so not a party guy though. My Gavin, he's such a low key kickback. I just kind of want to go to the record store kind of guy. Like he doesn't really like the hubbub and the big fuss. But if I had it my way, I'd definitely make a bigger fuss for him, I think.
That's a good point you bring up because it can depend on the birthday person too, what you do. Whether they're a low key person or high key. We've got that. We've got two of our littles are kind of what we would consider high key, and they just thrive on, the energy around them, and they just, party on from wake up to go to bed. And then one is not, and there's nothing wrong with that, and so, yeah. But, well, I think that's great the way y'all have done that. And I think, man, there's so many great ideas. I love when we can share creativity. Well, not we as in Katie, but we as in I like listening to what you do. And you might give some suggestions. We don't do, I don't have we don't have certain years. I mean, that's a great idea. And I wish I'd thought about that years ago. I think when we started out, because our oldest will be 26 this December. And, I almost said back then. That was a long time ago, but we used to, I had the 1-year birthday party and I invited everybody and his brother. And, I'm looking back and thinking, why did I invite, all those people that were my friend? Anyway, so we just do different things. But of course, we have the cake for a 1-year-old. But we have just done kind of whatever. And nobody has really said, maybe a couple times the big boys said they wanted a party. Like we had right when Lion King came out, I think Trevor, our oldest, we had a Lion King party for maybe his 5th or 6th birthday. But yeah, so the littles are fresher in my memory. So I'll just talk about them. We don't, we mainly do experiences. Like we don't do parties. I just don't. And they've never asked. I mean, it's not like we're trying to not have parties, but they've never, when I say party, I mean inviting a lot of children their age and having the thing. If they really wanted one, then we'd figure that out. But, yeah, I mean, we've just done different things like the cousins will come play, Or I know one year, our youngest, this was probably 3 years ago, so he would have been 4. Yeah, 4. And he wanted to, or 2 years ago, he was going to be 5. He wanted an elephant for his birthday. And yeah, I was having a hard time figuring that out. Yeah, and you know him, you've seen him on Instagram, and you've seen him talk, and it cracks us up. He was determined that was what he was going to get. Well, I was determined somehow that was going to happen. So we went out to breakfast, everybody, all of us, all 6 of our children and our daughter-in-law and granddaughter and even another friend of one of our older sons. And it was great. We went out to breakfast, and then we all went to the zoo. Elephant, see?
Oh,
and
very cute.
I bought him a stuffed elephant there at the zoo, which, by the way, he gave to Goodwill a few months later. So there's that gift. And and then got there. Oh, ma'am, no, the elephants have already been taken to the sanctuary for the summer or the winter or the whatever. Great. Thanks.
Oh, no.
So that was my attempt to get the little fella an elephant for his birthday. But I'm just saying, we do experiences. We do things. We don't give gifts. We give a gift if somebody is needing something, and like if you're needing a guitar case, I'm just thinking of things we've done, or if you're needing certain whatever, I can't think of anything off the top of my head, but if you're needing something, we don't just go out and buy a bunch of gifts because we can't afford it, and we just don't, have the money lying around or the space now because, we're trying to downsize. We're about to move into an RV. So
Right.
we don't go in for a lot of big gifts. We never have. And if we have gone in for gifts, it was things that they could use or need, maybe something they've really, really been wanting. Maybe a hammock was one year. So that's what we do. But we've always just tried to do experiences. And I have a couple I want to tell you about because they're actually historically interesting, and it might give, if somebody's in my area, it might give them a couple of ideas. But we, for Morgan, he's my second son. He just got married in May. For his 13th birthday, we went down to Sequatchie Valley, which is near Chattanooga, Tennessee. And so it's the southeastern part of Tennessee. And it's really rich in Civil War history down there, the Battle of Chickamauga, all down in there. And we went to a dinner theater. Now, let me pause here and say, if any of my family is listening, they're going to go, yes, of course we did, because Mama always made us learn something anywhere we go. If we go to the beach, oh, what kind of shells are those? Let's get out our book, until they would finally say, can we just have some fun? But we did go to this Civil War dinner theater, and it's in Whitwell. Both of the things I'm going to tell you about are in Whitwell, Tennessee. It's like white, drop the E. So WHITWELL. And it's at an old church building renovated into a dinner theater. So it's an original production, and it's called Granddaddy's Watch, and it's based on actual events that occurred in 1864 between a Tennessee Unionist and his Confederate cousin. So it's the meeting of them, and it's what happened, and I'm not going to tell the story. But anyway, so that was kind of neat. We did that for Morgan's 13th birthday. And right next door is a school. And of course, the school was not in session when we were there on a Saturday or whatever. But this is something fascinating as well. Totally different from the dinner theater. But it is called Paperclips, or the Paperclip Project. Now, you may have heard of this. Some of our listeners may have heard of this. But there is, like I said, Whitwell, Tennessee, but there was a middle school. And in 1998, from what I remember, there's a documentary out there, and it's on Netflix even. But if I remember correctly, the principal or the vice principal and a teacher, I think 8th grade teacher, were seeing the need to teach tolerance or to bring the idea of tolerance to this group of students, particular group. I think it was 8th grade students. And this need, I think, is mentioned in that documentary. But they saw the need to teach tolerance, so they wanted to have a project, wanted the students to do an after-school project relating to tolerance. Well, long story short, the students really, really got into this, and they started learning about Holocaust and World War II and the lives that were lost. So there is now, fast forward, there's now a boxcar. Please forgive me if I'm getting some of this wrong or the terminology, but there's like a train car that was actually used for the purpose of transporting Jews, and that they acquired that. And it now sits in the school grounds surrounded by a beautiful garden. And not only that, though, the students started researching, and they wanted to collect something, but they didn't know what. So they started researching, and they learned that a Norwegian fellow had, I don't know if he was the inventor of the paperclip or what have you, but in Norway, those who protested the Nazi rule would wear a paperclip on their lapel. So the students said, we'll just collect paper clips, and don't know the number. They actually have a website too. You can go to that and look at the documentary on Netflix. But they the students collected, I want to say 6 million. They collected the number of paper clips of the Jews that were not just Jews, the people who lost their lives during the Holocaust. So that boxcar, or that train car, I should say, holds that many paper clips. And you can go and see that, and it's got the glass or the plexiglass walls. You can see all the paper clips. It's just a simple and a very moving memorial. So I didn't really mean to get really deep into that, but that is just one of the most memorable birthday experiences we had. I bet. And yes, I did the research up ahead of time, so I knew those two things were right beside each other. Of course, one doesn't really have anything to do with the other necessarily, time period. But those two things were really, really fascinating. So, and we spent money to go down there. We spent money for the dinner theater. But see, I even remember that. It was 9 years ago. And, I was working for a newspaper at the time, and she let me write an article about, that whole birthday event. So that was kind of neat that we did that. So yeah, that's the kind of thing we do. We don't, and see, I don't even know if we gave him a gift, because that's just the kind of thing, we do. So that's kind of something that our listeners can look up. Paper Clips. That's the name of the film.
The movie's called Paper Clips. It's a fantastic documentary.
Okay, you've seen it. Okay, good. Okay.
Yeah, it's amazing. And it was to give the kids a visual representation of how many people, 6 point, however many people it was. And I can't remember the exact number. I apologize, but it's over 6 million. And they started collecting them from whoever would send them. So people, not just like, people in their town or wherever, but like celebrities were sending paper clips. People were sending them to them until they were like, what are we going to do with all these paper clips? But to hear the way that came together and how they got the boxcar and everything is just absolutely, I as soon as that movie was over, I started it over again. I watched it several years ago, but I had to see it again because I was like, there's no way I caught everything. But I love stuff like that. I love having the opportunity to do something different and have a new experience, make a new memory. And we've definitely done a lot of the same kind of thing. As far as like, it's somebody's birthday and we, like I said, we have our traditions. You get to pick the meals and you're off the hook with chores and all of that. But, I love it when they want to go do something instead of, because for some years, just because it was a big year doesn't mean they had a party. Mm-hmm. It just gave them an open door to do something a little bigger than we would normally do. So maybe someone wanted to go to the beach. I think this year, actually, for Gavin's 18th, that's all he wanted was to go to his favorite little beach town. So that's what we did. We just went and walked around and hung out. And there's one of the California missions is there. And so we went there and
Mm-hmm.
just sat in the church for a while and walked around the grounds. And I don't know, it's just, I think it's nice to think outside the box of like, especially now, and I might ruffle some feathers with this, and I don't intend to, but sometimes I think that we've fallen down the hole of Pinterest so far that we there's an aesthetic to a birthday now that was not there, and not just birthdays, but like say a bridal shower or a rehearsal dinner or something like that. There's an aesthetic that there's pressure to meet. Right. And I know some people really enjoy that. And I'm not shaming anybody for enjoying decorating nicely and having pretty centerpieces. Sure. I think that's great. And I'm not even shaming Pinterest. I'm just saying that it puts so much pressure on us that I think sometimes we forget how nice it is just to have basic experiences and just reliable traditions that come back around every year. Just the simple joy and the simple pleasure in having something fun to look forward to, having a fun new experience and memory without the pressure of, I have to have this perfect ladybug cake, or I have to do this thing. Sometimes this year for Piper's birthday, we were up in the mountains, and there's no bakery up there. There's no grocery store. And I'm living in an RV where I really can't bake a cake. Right. But the place, there was a place up there that had like donuts and pastries and chips and peanuts and sandwiches. It was just like a kind of a one stop before you go up to the lake kind of store. Yeah. And they had something called Shaver Lake, the famous Shaver Lake sticky bread or something, like, I forget what they called it, but it was basically like monkey bread done in a bread loaf. Okay. And so I went up there that morning, got it when it was still hot, and we put a candle in that little thing of sticky bread.
Absolutely.
Because, sometimes you have to think outside the box. Sometimes it's okay to go, I don't have to have this perfect, I don't know what the kids are doing their birthday parties like now, Paw Patrol or whatever. When my kids were little, it was something totally different. But, it doesn't have to be so perfect. I think we put so much pressure on ourselves, and it's so freeing and liberating to go, like we were saying earlier, like, what do you want to do? What do you really want to do? Right. If you didn't have to feel like you had to have a party, what sounds like fun to you? And sometimes the kids are the ones who come up with some of the best ideas,
Right. Right. Well, and talking about the innocence of that, talking about children and talking about, our littles they don't even know what the word Pinterest means. And just the simplicity and the purity. Now, they give gifts. The littles save their little money. They have chore money. I'll tell you a funny story, or not a story, but something John Boy said the other day about chores. But they save their money and they buy something for the birthday person. Now, in August, their budget gets hit hard. But, I'm talking cheap. We go to the Dollar General and, for instance, our youngest, he wanted to buy, well, all three of them did, but our youngest is quite vocal. And that's why I'm remembering this. But for Morgan, before Morgan got married, and that was his last birthday at home, and it was in March. And so I always take them to Dollar General. They buy the same thing for everybody for every birthday. And it's just precious because, they do that. So they buy either, duct tape or Gorilla Glue, or it's just predictable, and that's okay. But for Morgan, they bought so Swedish fish and goldfish, or whales is what they have. So a box of whales, because he likes those. I mean, it's the thought. It truly is the thought that counts. So, our children had a box, Swedish fish and a box of whales and whatever it was. Whales are like goldfish. They're generic. And so took them up to the register, and I'll never forget. I even took a picture and put it on my Instagram page, my Heritage Ways Instagram. And Jeremiah, our youngest, he put it up there, and he tells the guy, he said, "These are for my brother's birthday." And the guy was so impressed that the little children were buying things for their older brother's birthday. And he just acted like he'd never seen such a thing, which kind of was interesting to me. But yeah, they just buy, and they take it home and they wrap it up in whatever they can find to wrap it up in and present it to the birthday person. And one year, somebody, I remember, got a blue velvet dog statue for his or her birthday, or it was one of the So you never know, but it's truly from their heart, and they are so overjoyed. Now, Jeremiah's in this little, he'll say, what kind of Lego set do you want me to give you for your birthday? Because he's hoping you won't, want to play with it. And then there he's stuck with it. So, we have that issue that we have to say, okay, remember you're buying it for somebody else. But, it's just so cute when they do that. And when you don't expect things, Andrea, I'm going to share this lesson. And I think you and I have talked about this too, but I learned the hard way, and I'm being serious here, that, because for years I expected all these gifts, and I expected my friend Kate, and she listens to our podcast. So Kate, if you're listening, I know Kate has posted something like this on her Instagram page as well, very similar to what I'm saying. But when I learned to not expect a big, huge dinner, not to expect gifts, and I truly, truly was okay with that, then every birthday since then has been glorious. And I'm not shaming my husband or anybody in my life for not doing this or that. I'm truly, that I have come to a place where, well, I'll just say this year I didn't expect anything like in years past. And when they said, one of my older sons and my husband said, we're going to take you out to dinner and we're going to do this and that. And I was so excited because I didn't expect anything. So some people might not be okay with that philosophy, but it works for me. And, because in years past, and I'm talking years and years ago, I remember getting upset because my husband didn't do what I thought he should, or yada, 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 or he gave me this and he should be giving me that. And that's just, I feel like that was ridiculous for me to expect that because, for some reason, my husband can't read my mind yet. Now, he's working on it, and someday he'll get that degree or that certificate where he can finally, no, I doubt he will, but to bless his heart, it's just so much easier to not expect and then be joyously surprised.
Right.
Do you agree? What do you think?
Absolutely. Yeah, I totally agree with you. I think it's very liberating. I think when it comes to my birthday, I feel kind of uncomfortable being showered with things. And my husband's a gift giver. That's one of his favorite things, is to feel like he's spoiling me. And it doesn't make me uncomfortable, but I just feel like I don't receive well. It's hard for me. So I never, like, my birthday was, I could take or leave it. But I have had that issue with Mother's Day in the past. And it's usually because some plan got ruined or one of the kids got sick. And I would just think, of course they're sick on Mother's Day. Of course this is happening on Mother's Day, Yeah. And so Mother's Day was the one where I had to go, okay, we're just going to let this go. And whatever happens is what happens. And it's very liberating. It takes all the pressure off my family. And I think not only that, but it reignites joy in them that they know no matter what they do, I'm going to be happy. So there's not the pressure for them. It
gives them
either.
Permission to, yes.
Right. But it was funny because this year, my husband really wanted to take me out of town for my birthday. I said, babe, I really don't. For somebody who lived in an RV, I don't really, it's kind of funny that I don't really enjoy traveling. So I do. I don't like preparing to travel, and I get stressed out, and I think, what if? So I just would rather stay home. And so my husband really wanted to take me out of town. I said, babe, I really, really, really don't want to go out of town. I really just want to stay close to home. I really just want to have a low key birthday. I just want to stay calm. And he was so upset and heartbroken. And at first I was upset with him because I thought, like, this is my birthday. Why do you care? Like, what? Just, I'm giving you an easy out. Right. This will save us money. I don't understand why you're upset. He said, don't you understand that I just want to do something nice for you and you won't let me? Yeah, and it broke my heart. Well, we ended up, what do you want to do, babe? So I told him, I just want to go to the swap meet. That's all I want to do for my birthday. It's my favorite. That is my happy place. I want to go plant shopping at the swap meet. And that's it. And he at first was like, are you kidding me? We could do that any Saturday. Like, I want to do, don't you know how much you mean to me? I want to do something special for you. I said, babe, that is special to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was really sweet. But it was funny because the expectation thing had been reversed. where it was his expectation of how we should spend my birthday, and he was the one disappointed. So I reminded him, like, babe, we can't have this kind of expectation. We need to be able to just roll it. What ended up happening was the money we saved traveling, we were able to put towards us getting our passports. So it worked out because now, okay, we're planning a trip in March now, and the kids will have their passports by then. And so I feel like, okay, it gave him something new to look forward to. It gave me some time to prepare to not sabotage the next out of town trip. But, you know, it was like a happy medium. We were fortunately able to find a happy medium, but it was interesting because the expectation thing totally flipped. It was the same issue, just from a different perspective. So, but I totally agree with you. It's very liberating. I think that, especially as moms, because we give and we sacrifice and we give and we sacrifice over and over again, because that's what motherhood's about. Sometimes when it gets to that one day that's supposed to be for you, it's kind of like, okay, this is my one chance to have something be about me. And sometimes that can run away from us.
Yeah. Yes. Well, and now you brought up the Mother's Day thing. Now I'm human. Okay. And I like gifts, and I'm just going to say it because I know our listeners want, they agree. Of course we want attention. We want to be thanked. We want to be showered with whatever, love or gifts or cake or whatever. But so I'm not saying, I will accept gifts, but I don't expect gifts or attention or cake or whatever. So, I'll accept them. Yes. I'm not going to say, oh, take it back. My son Owen, usually every year he gives me a chocolate cheesecake from, we call it the Pink Box Place here in town, but from Julia's Bakery. And it's just so awesome. But to be 100% honest, I did not expect that this year. And instead, it was his idea of going where we went. I'll tell you that in a minute. And we just got a big old fudge pie because quite honestly, it was cheaper to buy the whole pie than per slice for all of us who went, 6 of us. So, and that was just as delicious. I'll tell you what. So yeah, I will accept. I just don't expect, but I'm human too. I don't want Mother's Day to be any other day. And my husband is wonderful. He'll decide we're going out to eat, and he'll figure that out. And then we go to church, and that's really it. The kids give me cards and things, and I don't expect anything. I do expect to not have to cook, but other than that, I don't expect gifts. So, it is liberating. And something else you said a while ago, but I don't remember. Oh, I want you to tell us about the swap meet, because some people might not know what that is. So tell us about that if you don't mind. And then did you eat anything lovely that day?
Oh, yes. So, the funny story on the birthday. Well, the swap meet is kind of like the flea market, but it's called the cherry auction swap meet.
Okay.
And they call it that because twice a year there's actually like a car auction and some stuff, but mostly it's just vendors set up, and on one side it's things like plants and fruits and vegetables and nuts, and you'll walk up and it looks not unlike you would see vendors in Mexico, where there's piles of dried chilies and piles of different kinds of flavored peanuts and, heaps and heaps of like mangoes and papayas and guavas. And this time of year, there was big, huge bundles of fresh garbanzo beans still in the pods. And so it varies by season. But one side is mostly fruits and vegetables, and on one half, and then the other half of that side is like new items, like maybe blankets from Mexico or leather shoes from Mexico, a lot of Mexican imports. There's always like one Avon lady. And then on the other side is like the flea market stuff. That's like the stuff you pick through, where I call it go and junkin', where you're going to pick through and find your milk glass and your vintage enamelware and or maybe, some random things. So I ended up coming home mostly with plants. But the kids, every time we go, their biggest thing, if we say we're going to the cherry, or going to the cherry, and the kids will say, are we going to get churros? Well, of course we have to get churros because they're the best ever I've had in my life. And they're heated over open flame. Like they're amazing. I actually didn't eat one, believe it or not, because I was saving my appetite because I had a coupon because I like to save money. So my husband, who's always just trying to do something nice for me on my birthday, I'm always like, but Denny's sent me a free coupon. So I saved my appetite. We drop the kids off at the house. I go back to Denny's because I'm just going to have my Grand Slam breakfast that's free. And then I walk in and you have to have your coupon printed. You can't just give it to him off your phone. So now I know I have to buy my breakfast, which my husband does not care one way or the other. But I'm irritated because I don't want to spend money because I am frugal and I don't want to, it's hard for me. My husband's like, babe, just order whatever you want. So I end up ordering this crummy $4 thing on the value menu and it was terrible. So then I'm irritated because now it's my birthday and I've had a terrible breakfast.
Right. I understand.
And he's like, babe, why didn't you just order? There's like the one thing at Denny's I always get. And he's like, why didn't you just order that? I was like, well, because I was planning on a free breakfast and I didn't want to pay for a full breakfast. And he just shakes his head at me because it is ridiculous. I understand it's ridiculous, but it's hard for me. So anyway, I actually didn't eat that great of a meal on my birthday, but for the life of me right now, I can't remember what I had for dinner. And I know I requested it. And I don't remember what we ate.
What did you eat? That was on Trinity's birthday. Tell us about that.
Trinity's birthday tradition. Yeah. Trinity's birthday tradition is
Japanese bakery. Is that what it is?
Yeah, it's a Japanese confectioner, and we go to this place called Kugetsudo, and they make fresh mochi, and if you've never had mochi before, it's like a rice flour. I don't know how to explain it. It's not quite a pastry, and it's like really, for lack of a better word, it's kind of like a rice flour dough blob, and then it's stuffed with stuff. And it sounds horrible, and the texture is
good. I mean, you showed the picture.
Oh man! It's to me it's
better than a donut thing.
It's amazing, and the texture's weird, and it's squishy, and it's messy, and there's potato starch all over the outside of it to keep it from sticking to you. So like we got in the car and the air conditioner's on, of course, because it's 107 on Trinity's birthday, and we turn on the car and the air conditioner's on, and potato starch just goes blowing everywhere because we all have our mochi open. So then there's just white dust on everything, but you bite into it, and this one has just the most luscious, fresh local strawberries, and they make their rice flour from California rice. So they actually go like an hour and a half from here. They buy their rice twice a year. They grind it and make their own rice flour. They make the mochi fresh every day, and they have one that is fresh strawberries and Nutella. And I'm not a sweets person. I could go without sweets the rest of my life. Right. But this thing is literally, and Fresno, look, you will never hear me say Fresno's like a haven for much. Okay. Like I'm not exactly Fresno's biggest fan or its biggest cheerleader. I live here, and I don't live in Fresno, but county. Right. I can accept the fact that God has me here for now, but I'm not like, I'm not like team. We got it. I'm not like Team Fres. Yes, right. Like no, it's still Fresno to me.
Fresno flags or whatever. Okay.
However, we have good food. Okay. But this mochi is hands down the best bite in this town. Hands down.
I've never heard of this, and many of our listeners have not.
Yeah. Okay. It's amazing.
I will say, and if Big Blob doesn't sound good to people, I will say in her defense,
I know.
I saw a picture of this, and it looked, wonderful.
It's
I can't describe even what I saw. Like a pastry thing, but you could tell it was so tender and soft and delicious. How sweet is it? Is it like overly sweet? I'm talking the rice flour dough thing. Is it really sweet, or is it? Because I like sweets that aren't really sweet. If that makes sense. No,
it's the when you eat the Nutella and strawberry one, it seems very sweet because Nutella is sweet. But I just had plain strawberry this time, and it was perfect because the mochi is lightly sweetened, but not crazy. And because it's ground from fresh rice, it literally just tastes like sweetened rice on the outside. But the texture is like, I can't even explain it. It's unlike anything.
And if you've had
and if you've had mochi before, if any of our listeners have had mochi before, I can almost bet money, it's nothing like what I had, what we have at this confectioner, because it's literally unlike any other mochi I've ever eaten in my life. And it's just such a treasure. And this place has been open for going on, I think, 110 years now. And it's been owned by it's been owned by the same family. There were only 2 years where they did not run it, and that was because they were in an internment camp during World War II. So a Chinese family had taken it over for 2 years, and when they got out, they were able to get their business back and continue running it. But it's been in their family for almost 110 years. It's amazing.
Okay, I'm thankful for them that they got their business back.
Me too.
That's good news to me, because we're all about heritage in our family. We love hearing. I know you too, Andrea. Yeah, but I love that. I love hearing stories like that. I love that for them.
Yeah,
I think that's amazing. And I love food a little bit. I hope you're going to take us to this when we come visit you sometime.
Of course I am.
Take us, because I'm looking forward to this. Okay, I will commiserate with you for a minute about having something untasty on your birthday.
Okay.
And I'll tell you where we went. And I don't even know that I told you this, like in text or anything, a video. So this is the first time you've heard this, I think. But, you had your Denny's that you weren't thrilled about. Well, we went to, and this has a happy ending. I'll go ahead and spoil it for you. But we went to, Owen suggested that we go to Loveless Cafe. Now, that's right outside of, it's Nashville. Bellevue area, which is outside of Nashville, and it's a Nashville icon, y'all. So, a lot of people have heard of Loveless Cafe. I think you said you had heard of it, Andrea, but it is and if you've referred to a few of our episodes in the past or a few back, we talk about a meat and three. If you're not from the South, this would be, it's just country cooking. It's just country food, and I took some snapshots of the menu, and I can post those on our Casseroles and Tacos Instagram page. But it's at the head, the northern entrance to the Natchez Trace Parkway. So a lot of people, there are not a lot of stops on the Natchez Trace Parkway. It's a very scenic route, goes down to Natchez, Mississippi. And a lot of people, Loveless Cafe is their, they'll eat breakfast there, and then they'll get on the Parkway. So it's just really, and I didn't bring it with me. I meant to. You'll have to get on the website. I meant to bring the information of the history of the Loveless Cafe. But y'all can check that out on their website and maybe even Instagram. We have a picture of our family on our Instagram page outside of the Loveless Cafe. But anyway, they're known for their biscuits. Now, here's the thing. I've been there 3-4 times, and as a Southern lady, Southerner myself, I've never understood. Now, this is not a slam against Loveless Cafe, but I've never understood why everybody says, oh, their biscuits are to die for. Honestly, my husband's grandmother made biscuits that are as good as, or most times very much better. So maybe it's folks that maybe don't make them at home, and that's fine. That's fine. But they're smaller. They're known for being smaller, which Brent's grannies were smaller. They're good. They're good. They're just, a lot of Southern people make some very, very good biscuits. So we'll just say that, in my opinion, Loveless Cafe biscuits are good, but you don't have to travel. You can go to somebody's granny's house down here and get good biscuits as well. But biscuits were the problem that night. I'm telling you, she sat a plate of biscuits and some delicious preserves. I can't remember. There was peach and blackberry and strawberry, I think. So she sat those on the table before we ordered even. And I'm telling you now, this is sad for Loveless, but we were having to cut them with a knife, like saw them. And so now, did that keep our family from consuming them? No, ma'am. But Brent was like, what is going on? Because, obviously there was an issue. Because that was not typical. It's not normal. It's not, nobody ought to have a biscuit. You have to, they ought to melt in your mouth. You pull them apart with your hands. You don't have to saw them. I'm not talking about to slice them open. I'm talking to cut them into pieces to put them on a fork and put them in your mouth.
Wow.
So I said, well, as a cook, I can look at them and tell you right now something's amiss with the recipe, which is odd because you know good and well they had a recipe and they have scales and they get it all correct and the lard and all that. But they were, I could just look at them and tell that it had too much grease or lard or whatever grease they use. So Crisco or whatever. And they were just, you know, I don't know if they'd been sitting there too long. Well, I couldn't help myself. I asked the sweet little, the little waitress, I said, can I just, I don't want to complain, but what's the deal with the biscuits tonight? And she said, you know, other people have been saying something too. And I thought, oh, okay, good. It's not just me. I'm not the only one. And she said, I don't know. She said, you know, maybe it's the time of day, which that doesn't make sense because they're known for their biscuits from open to close. So she took them away and she brought back another plate and they were much, 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 much better. Still not as good as Brent's Granny's, but they were much, much better. So it's just something went wrong there. And, you know, after I said something and she brought some fresh ones out. So all is well there. But we did have that issue. Now, okay, their food, oh my stars. Like the best thing I had, okay, I ordered meatloaf. I took a picture because I knew good and well I was going to post it on Casseroles and Tacos and show y'all. So I ordered meatloaf, which I'm not a fan of, but since I am a meatloaf snob, I did ask for a little bite. Well, she offered it and I said, yes, would you please bring me a bite before I decide if I want to order a plate of it? So, because, you know, people make meatloaf 112 different ways. Or more, you know,
true.
I mean, They put different things in it and I'm kind of a meatloaf and a coleslaw snob because, you know, I don't know what you're putting in your meatloaf and I don't know how your coleslaw is going to taste. So I ordered the meatloaf and it was good. So meatloaf, cream corn, y'all, that was the best thing I had my entire birthday. That cream corn was so fresh and so delicious. I could have had a big old bowl of that stuff. It was delicious. Fried okra, because, I mean, you know, fried okra. Right. And coleslaw, which was good. It was good. I did not eat all and mashed potatoes because, you know, it's my birthday. That's my favorite. So that's what I ate. And I didn't eat it all. I couldn't eat it all. And which is a little bit surprising for Katie. And that was good, though. And then, but, oh, my stars, Brent had fried pork chops. He let me have some, and y'all, it was so good. Makes you want to slap somebody because they were breaded just right, and they were so good. So I did trade him some of my meatloaf for some more bites of his breaded pork chop. And then Owen got what was it called? A sampler platter thing, and he couldn't even eat all his. So he took it home. I mean, it was barbecue, just your Southern food, you know.
Wow.
That's what they have on the menu. Fried chicken, barbecue, all just, if you think it's Southern, it's on the menu. And then amazing. We got the pie and we dabbled in that and then took the rest of it home. And it was chocolate pie because, you know, chocolate, hello.
Right.
So it was delicious. We had the little biscuit fiasco going on. I was a little bit disappointed and confused because I was like, I don't know. I don't understand. So yeah, we did eat something that was, but you know, we managed to get it in our mouths. we didn't refuse the hardest attack, you know, the biscuits, but so that's what we did, and it was great. It was wonderful.
Well, good.
And
sounds amazing.
So I'm gonna. It was so, you know, and you had a great birthday with your family, doing just what you wanted to do.
Yeah, it was great.
And so, you know, I think that's great. It's good to hear what different families do in different regions. I love that.
Yeah, it's super fun.
So it is fun. So you have a website. Folks can follow along. Your website's looking great. I think you've done some changes to it, but oursupperstories.com.
I have.
Right? It looks great.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, it does. And I haven't read everything on your website, but that is on my to-do list, most certainly, when we're moving out this weekend. So when I get settled and I have my little week of doing nothing. Har har. I do plan to do nothing except just sit and read. And so I look forward to seeing that. But I hope our listeners will go check that out. At oursupperstories.com is your website, and heritageways.com is our website. Yes. So they can follow us there.
Yes, I was just on your website the other day reading several of your blog posts that I hadn't read before. So there's plenty of content between the two of them to find new recipes and new stories and all of that. But you can also find us over on Instagram, guys, over at Casseroles and Tacos. We'll continue this conversation. We'd love to hear about your birthdays, how you celebrate, what your traditions are, and how you like to spend your birthday, maybe. I'd like to hear about that too. So if you're a fellow August baby, happy birthday to you also. Hope you had or are going to have a wonderful day. And in the meantime, we will be hanging out on Instagram, chit-chatting about other stuff. So we hope that you'll join us over there, join the conversation about today's episode, and, just continue walking this crazy thing called life with us. So we hope that in the meantime, you'll remember that no matter how you celebrate or what you're doing on your special days, that love is the best ingredient. And we look forward to hearing more about your life and getting to know you better. So you guys take care, and we will catch you very soon. You guys have a good one.
All right. Bye-bye.